Yeah, it's a question that keeps being asked coast to coast. Many of you have been asking me the question. If Justin was Justin Smith, Justin Jones, Justin Adler, instead of Justin Trudeau, would anybody be talking about him? Would anyone be talking about him on TV, radio? Would anyone be writing column after column, getting all those clicks, all those tweets, all those postings on Facebook? If Justin Trudeau was Justin Jones, would his face grace as many sites of newspapers and magazine covers? And, of course, everyone asking the question knows the answer. I don't know why we keep asking. So if that's the case, if it's just about the name, does it mean he can ride his name horse all the way into the only national political office in the land that everyone agrees has real power attached to it? So it's time for some Canadian common sense. The office of Prime Minister of Canada, think about it. Think about the words Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Just swirl it around inside your mind's mouth and see how it tastes, how it smells. Think about digesting it for 4 years or 8 years or 12 years or longer. Remember, he's only in his 40s. Chances are, even in his 60s, he'll still be youthful, vigorous, telegenic. Think about Justin Trudeau having the most powerful political job in Canada. The power to send the young to war. The power to send your mortgage rates to the moon. The power to sign a bill legalizing marijuana. And after that, who knows? Heroin, cocaine, I don't know. Do you? I do know the war on drugs is not cool. Justin's cool. So I want you to think about having an entire generation's worth of political power under the thumb of Justin. If I did not think it was possible, I wouldn't be wasting your precious time with it right now. I don't do cool. I don't say things or smoke things to be cool. It's not what I value in life. Cool to me is just a temporary buzz. No lasting value. I don't do cool. I do real. First things first. Let's blow off this pot story, which to many Canadians is about pot, which to many others is about the law. For me, it's only about the law because I don't give ugly, smelly little weeds the kind of power the cool kids do. Yes, I've smoked it. I've inhaled it, mostly disliked it, actually. And I have thought for many years that it took up tragically way too much time and space in the throats and lungs and brains of people I know. Many of them having life's potential burning up in the ashtray that they turned their bodies into. Now, it's around this time that the cool kids, many of whom are my age and older, say, yeah, but what about booze? Yes, I've seen many of my fellow travelers in entertainment and media blow their lives up because of booze as well, obviously. I've just never understood the argument that being psychologically attached to one set of chemical experiences is a good idea because there are people who are psychologically attached to another set of mood-altering chemical experiences. What's the point? What's relevant to me is not what people poison themselves with, pot, coke, scotch, rye, beer. If it's something you need to go back to again and again and again, if the substance becomes your confused mind's best friend, it makes no difference to me whether it's something you're drinking or smoking or sniffing or snorting. What's the difference? It's about this. It's about your brain. And I have no trouble understanding why some find it cool to laugh at the fool who's wasting his brain. Hey, it's his brain. Go ahead and laugh. I just don't get how it's something I would want to associate with a person who I want to grant political power to. Then it gets serious. Then cool is the last thing on my mind. Let me see here. I'm a citizen. It's time to vote. And I'm supposed to think, well, is there some party on the ballot that will guarantee that my kids and grandkids will have more access to mood-altering substances, like they don't already have enough access? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the Liberal leader wants to make that happen. So who's the Liberal candidate on the ballot? See, I just can't imagine myself going there. Can you? Can you imagine thousands and thousands of people in your own community, people who rarely, if ever, vote, coming out of their basements, searching for a voting booth, highly motivated to vote for the Justin party because it's the cool party that wants you to have no stress at your next party when you see a bag of weed on the table, as if you're so stressed out now. When Justin Trudeau was asked to personalize his politics on legalizing pot, he admitted to smoking it half a dozen times or so and doing it a couple of times since being MP. And so those of us who are not alarmed by pot and don't pretend to be on TV, why would we be risking? That's what I'm thinking. Why would he be risking a political career by doing something against the law? Why would he want to have more power than anyone in this country to make law, to repeal law, to change law in a country that's governed by the rule of law? When he disrespects the law by breaking it, it's still about the law for me, folks. Sorry. It's not about the pot. Now, there are a couple of answers to the question about violating the law while you're asking people to have you as the chief law enforcement officer. Yes, he violated the law, we're told by the spinners, but hey, not all laws are equal in the minds of the public. I mean, he didn't kidnap a kid. He smoked some weed. It's just the stupid pot law. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got it. He didn't break all the laws, just the pot law. And only those real anal, by-the-book people would hold that against him, right? That may turn out to be true. I mean, we're told by Liberal supporters that Justin is the new kind of politics because he's transparent, open, honest. Transparent? Transparently what? In my mind, transparently immature? I mean, you apply for the job of most important lawmaker in the land. You see yourself as having some moral authority, and the stuff about some laws being more important than others. You treat the legal code like a buffet. You have some on the table, but you ignore the rest. I mean, that's transparently immature. And because as someone who wants to lead others in a parliamentary system, your actions can cause them to pay a price. Yeah, others may go down with you when you're immature, which means you're being transparently careless. And now that he has put it out there and not apologized for having violated the law while holding public office, in fact, he's proud of having done it because it makes him so transparent. He's transparently without contrition. Have you ever had a teenager tell you, I wish my parents would just get off the pot and grow up? I've heard it with my own ears several times. In fact, I'm hearing it right now. So I'm encouraging you to get off the pot called your sofa. Let your neighbors know how you feel about who has the right seeds of character to be a prime minister and who does not. That's Canadian common sense. Many Canadian voters appreciate Justin Trudeau's forthrightness, even if the thing he's being forthright about is a violation of law. But what does he need to be open about in order to reap some real political rewards? Winnipeg Sun columnist Jess Chapman joins us here in studio. Now, Jess, when Justin talks about helping the middle class, not that many people take him seriously because automatic reaction is, what's the middle class to you, Justin? Something you read about on one of your private jets. So nobody takes him seriously on the middle class. But when he talks about smoking pot, it's click, click, click. Mm-hmm. It's all over social media. It's all over mainstream media. Is his pot proposal helping him?
It's helping him with voters he already had. It's helping him among young voters who, if they were ever illusioned with the Conservatives, are now disillusioned and are looking for someone like Jack Layton, someone who has that level of star power, and only Justin can come close to matching it. So this is playing well with them because they have perceived Stephen Harper as being less than transparent. And Justin admitting that he has done pot before, that's about as transparent as it gets.
Yeah, because most politicians have done it, but they don't talk about it, and they pretend like they've never done it. We understand. Let me go to the blue team for just a moment and see what it is about the blue team that is turning off the young. The premise is, of course, that the blue team at some point did turn on the young. But I can't remember when that was. When was the blue team popular with your demographic?
It's popular among a segment of my demographic that is very partisan. They will follow Conservatives over the cliff.
All right, so what's that? Maybe 5 to 10% of your demographic?
Okay,
I'm after the majority here. I want to clear the underbrush away. As far as the majority is concerned, just focus on the North Star here. Average 20-something, average millennial. What is it about the word Tory, the word conservative, the word blue that turns them off?
What really turns them off is the way Stephen Harper governs, and that's how a lot of elections are won and lost in this country, on the basis of governance, less on the basis of policy. They have seen him refusing to answer some questions from journalists. They have seen the Privy Council office having to clear all press releases, even some of the most meaningless. That to them is not the kind of government they want. They want a government that is a little less concerned with keeping that stranglehold on power. That's how they see Stephen Harper.
Okay, so they see Harper as too much of a control freak, too authoritarian. Image-wise, they're not crazy about that. But when it comes to his actual policies, most important policies, of course, in Canada would be economic opportunity, either helping to create it, helping to create the environment for it, or not getting in the way of it. When it comes to economic opportunity, where 20-somethings want their very first job, do they see Harper as a friend or a threat?
It depends on the kind of job they want. If we're talking about the millennials who are looking to the resource industry for jobs, which do pay very well, I think they see Stephen Harper as a friend. On the other hand, you have people who want cleaner jobs and more city-based jobs. They haven't seen Justin Trudeau coming out with any concrete policies to encourage that kind of growth yet, but they think he has more of that potential than Harper.
Okay, when I meet 20-somethings, to be brutally honest, they don't take the pot thing seriously at all. But here's where I'm going with this. They don't take the pot thing seriously as a motivator for them to vote, because most of the 20-somethings I meet, yes, they do want jobs. They owe money, a lot of money in some cases, for the education that they have purchased. They want to pay that money off. They want to own property. Many of them want to talk about at least starting families, once again, economic security. And so the pot thing to them is very much a sideshow.
Not quite. A lot of people you will see talking about the pot thing will point out that taxpayers spend a lot of money cracking down on even some of the most minor pot-related crimes. So if there is full-on legalization or even decriminalization, that'll free up some money that could be invested into offsetting some student loan debt or encouraging more of the jobs they want.
Help me understand this. Are you telling me that many millennials think that somehow the various hoods who have billions and billions of dollars of infrastructure in the black market called drugs will somehow give up the business just because some more marijuana is available?
It's a common conception that if marijuana is legalized, there will be less of a black market because they will have to shift to harder drugs in order to maintain a black market. They're not thinking about the hoods as pot smokers in this case. They're talking about the average person who goes out to the bar on the weekend and maybe, if someone has a joint, takes a puff. That's what Justin is.
Right, but so they're not thinking about the serious underworld that is serious about making money any way it can. And if cannabis, if there's less of a market for that because it may be available in the mainstream, well, they'll just push something else, push something harder, like heroin or crack cocaine or ecstasy or what have you. I mean, I guess what I'm sitting here saying to you is, having covered the underworld for a good segment of my life, I just cannot see these guys being intimidated by this and going away and not finding new ways to market even tougher drugs, meaning infecting more young people.
It's seductive logic that they're running with here, and I do think we need to see a little more concrete study and put it in their face to say, you know, it might not work out the way you think it's going to work out, guys.
Okay, I don't see Justin as really, truly identifying with the middle class. It feels like some talking point that somebody gave him, and he's regurgitating it. Fine, he's a regurgitator. Do middle-class millennials see him as helpful to the middle class?
I don't think they're thinking in terms of the middle class. When we think about middle-class voters and their motivations, yes, they want a steady employment rate. They don't want to pay too much in taxes. They want to keep their homes. Millennials, by and large, aren't thinking that far ahead yet. You need to go into the older end of the millennial demographic, which is about 30 to 35, when they start sharing some of those middle class concerns, when there's some overlap there. If Justin really wants to make an impact, he will identify the overlap, and that will allow him to really start moving into the middle class demo, as in the parents of the millennials, and prove himself to be a good economic steward in training.
Just a few seconds left. One last question here. Do you think 2 years from now, when we're talking about the election after the Prime Minister has dropped the writ, we'll still be talking about pot?
We will mention it as an interesting moment in Justin's career, but at the ballot box, I don't think we'll see many people making the decision to draw the X on this basis.
Not a ballot issue.
No.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Winnipeg Sun columnist Jess Chapman.